Alright, so I've got that done now, and I'm just going to kind of show you. I went ahead and got this glued down, and all I did was take my little piece of parchment and glue this all down. So this is going to be the cover to the journal. I thought I would just go ahead and do that, and you can see that when I put this together, I just took a piece of the cutout, backed it in the paper that is just the reverse side, and did some stitching on it. So then I just glued it with that little bit of piece of parchment sticking out there that you can see, just to give it a little break up from the paper. So anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the inside of this, but these are the last pieces that I'm going to use to put in it, and these will just, like this one will go in the pocket. This is just going to be a little tag that hangs with a paper clip, and this one will too. I still need to distress this a little bit. I really roughed up these tags. All I did is I just bent them so that they had some tear. They look like they were worn because they are really nice, and this is what they look like. They're just nice and pretty. But what I do is I just take them and I kind of bend them up. I give them a little bit of a tear even here and there. I wanted them to look aged and kind of vintage there. So then I take my my distress ink, and in order to get the lines to show, can you see how the line is showing there? You just simply have to bend that, and then when you run your distress ink over it, it catches on those bends and things, and that's what I like. See the tear? That's what I like to see in a distress, you know, and if I want another line going a different way, I just simply bend it, and anyway, I like them to look this way. This is the way I like them to look, not the way they look in the package. So anyway, that's what I do to get those to look like that. But I am going to use the Noel. I will use, or the holly, probably the holly. But I didn't distress this side, so I'm going to do that. And I will use the holiday, and those will be hanging with paper clips. This will go in the pocket. And then this one I'm just going to attach it with a paper clip to one of the pages. But I don't want to do any of that until I get this bound. So anyway, this is how I put the book together, and this is how I stitch it. I always start with my first page, and I just kind of pull it out, and I'll go ahead and stitch that on, and then I will go ahead and sew this in so that this is just done. And you'll have to, you know, kind of bend it and remember how it's going to go in the book. That way you for sure get this stitched on this, and you don't have to flip it over and put this in order for it to work the way I put it in the book. Then I just bring it back and I kind of bend the page. Okay, the next is going to be my book page. I know this is the side because it is going to be the first thing showing. So I stitch it on, and then I have to flip it over, and then I stitch it down here, and then that page is done. And then it will be the manila tag, and I will be hanging something off this one. I grab this ledger paper, I go ahead and sew my lace on, and then I flip it, and then I stitch this on because that's where it's going to go in the book. And then this is just my center. So I just go ahead and get those done, and they are done then. Get your cover done, and then decide on your binding. Are you going to do the pamphlet stitch, or are you going to stitch it in? If these books are very thin like this, I like to just stitch them in. It's quicker, it's easier for me. But if it's a thick, then I do the pamphlet stitch, because I cannot get these to lay nice and even and flat when I sew and stay in the spine. So here is a little something that I do. If you're stitching, I take my pencil. This is going to be stitched over anyway, and I kind of mark those. Oops. I kind of mark those to go with the spine. Okay, and I just kind of make sure that my pages are in there and kind of evened up how I want them to be. I like to have a little bit of a lip And can you see I have a little bit of a lip, and that's what I like. I don't always get that for measuring reasons. For some reason I kind of measure off sometimes, but that's what I like to do. Then I get it to where it is in the spine. And then I have a little clip, if I can find it here. I'm not seeing it on my table. Let me reach over here and get one. And you could use a bulldog clip, or I use this little, I think this is a Heidi Swap clip. I found it Tuesday morning. And what I do is I get that clipped on there. And then what I do is I just start running it in the machine. I can see if my pages look like they're off, I just kind of fix them before I start. You know, if I want a little bit more hanging at the top, just kind of redo that. Okay, so what I do, and this looks about right, I just set in my machine here, and I kind of back tack it a little bit, and I stitch down it. But I do want to hold it so that I know that it's not going to get out of place. And I'm going to be running down the spine. And like I said, you could use a bulldog clip. You could use, you know, one of these little clips. And they even make bigger ones if you want to have a bigger one. But this is what I do. Anyway, I'm going to go stitch this in really quick. And then I'll come back and show you that. But while I'm doing that, this is going to be the corrugated cardboard. And I'm going to go ahead and get this glued down so that it can be nice and dried. I'm simply going to place my little cut piece of paper here on the corrugated board. I'm going to set my little joy tag in. And this one, on all the others, I did not use a flower because I did not have enough flowers to put it on all the others. But on this particular one, I'm going to, on the others, I just used the button. And anyway, I'm going to go ahead and glue that down so it'll be nice and dry. Then once I get it set, I always lay mine out first. I never stick it down until I get it laid out. And then I will glue it. And I find that the Fabri-Tac or this 450 quick dry adhesive will hold to the glassine bag. So I'm going to use the 450 quick dry on this to put it on the glassine bag. That is my all-time favorite glue. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done too while I stitch the binding, and then we'll come back and get it together, get the twine and things on it. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to finish this up, and I've got my piece, all laid out, and it's dried and ready to go to put the album in. I did forget to tell you that I did distress around with the Tim Holtz little distressing tool, and I just roughed up my edges and inked them to give it kind of a more aged and rugged feel there. And anyway, that's what I did. And also I have forgotten to sew on, I did a decorative stitch in my other ones, so I went ahead and did that, and I just put it on the one behind the book page. I just have one decorative stitch in each book, one decorative stitched page. But anyway, here we go. Here's our little book. You can either leave your strings or cut them off, but this is kind of what it looks like. The pamphlet stitch, I will put the link to that tutorial in the description box. I did do that on one of the adorable paper bag tutorials to show you how to do a quick binding, so I will link that there. I'm not going to do one today, but this is the little mini, and I've got my little holiday stuck up there with my little rusty paper clip. Here is my little tuck page, or tuck spot there, page. Blank page. Here is my ribbon sewed on the book page. There is the little tag. Here I have just draped that over the page. This is the one that is lined with paper so that it can be journaled in. And I decided to just drape it over the page. And then here is my little lace page. Here is This is just that little piece that graph paper. And I just wanted to add a little something extra there because this has to be smaller. It won't fit in the bag very well. So you can't overcrowd it as far as filling it with a lot of paper clips and such. And so here is the little holly. And here's the book page. And here's that sewed on there. Here's my little decorative stitching. Here is a little piece of journal paper. And you can make that as tall as you want. There's really no measurements for that. It's just whatever you feel like you want in there. And then here is the back. So then we just take this and it fits in our little glassine bag. Okay, I don't tape this down. I just leave it as such. Okay, then you want to take your twine and so you want to go, I believe, this way first. And what I do is I just kind of even up my twine, and I'm going to be out of camera, but I've got to even my twine up back here. So I just make sure my pieces are kind of even so I don't have to try to adjust it when I get around. You don't want to do it too tight because you don't want your bag all wrinkly. Now I usually double tie it because I'm going to put that, whatchamacallit there, that paper, safety pin. Okay, and then I just come back around with it. And if this looks too tight, just give it a little bit of pull and it'll come loose. Okay, and then this just comes around. Oops, I might be getting out of frame. I'm sorry, guys. And then this just comes around and ties in a bow. So anyway, is that not a cute little gift? I think that any kind of person that does journaling or scrapbooking or maybe wants to try their hand at it, this is just a perfect little keepsake. And then on the back, I give it that little bit of double tie. I did not get me a little safety pin. Let me grab it. Okay, let me find a little one here. This is not as little as I'd like to found, but I've got them all in a jar, so you got to dig through the jar to get the... So I just run the safety pin through the little knot there. And then if you're going to write a sentiment or something, you know, on this, just simply write it. And then I just take this and I'm just going to run it in the safety pin. And I kind of want to see how long I want it. And then all I do is just tie it in a knot. You know, once I see how long I kind of want it, I just adjust it as I put it on, and then I tie it in a knot. And I like to leave the string. I just like the look of the other part of the string there, so I just leave it on. And here is our little gift. Pretty simple, pretty quick. And anyway, I like how they came out. I love the look of the glassine bags with the little mini in it. So anyway, this is the tutorial. I am going to do a separate video on all of the little bags with the journals in them. And it will take me a couple of hours after the tutorial to be able to get all that done, because I got to get the video made, and then I'll have to get them listed on Etsy. So a couple hours after the tutorial, I will be showing you the rest of my little minis here. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you have fun making these little journals. I have had a real blast doing these 12 weeks of Christmas. And anyway, I'll see you in just a little while. Thanks so much for watching.